Yeah.
What's going on, y'all?
Happy Invest Fest week, y'all.
For sure.
Happy Invest Fest week. I like it. I seen MG put that up in his post. I like that. I like the sound of that. So I wish everybody a happy Invest Fest week. Happy Monday. How y'all feeling?
Excited, nervous, grateful.
Yeah.
Tired.
All the things.
Energized. Everything at one time. How y'all feeling? Good.
Excited. I think excited is probably the number one feeling. Like I said, I just want everybody to come see it. The offering we've put together. Shout out to everybody that took part in making sure that this happens. But excited, man. Trying to get some rest, pre-rest. I'm getting the pre-rest. There's no rest after that.
No.
Yeah, Wednesday ain't no rest, but pre-rest is important.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I feel good. A lot going on. We got a lot to talk about. So don't waste too much time. Tune in to Blackout Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Invest Fest, we got a lot going on, so we're not gonna drop an Earn Your Leisure episode. We will be back next week with a big one.
Big, yeah.
But in the meantime, we got Blackout, we got Market Mondays today, and then of course Invest Fest on Friday, starts Friday. Thursday is registration day. Get there, 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock is registration, GWCC. And then 10 o'clock in the morning, festivities start Friday. Workshops, panels, vendor marketplace open all day Friday. VIP night is Friday night, and then that just rolls into Saturday and Sunday. But Invest Fest starts on Friday. Friday
morning.
Friday morning. Like I said, you can actually register and get your bracelet and all your credentials and everything Thursday. If you want to avoid any line, that's best practices. I highly suggest that if you're in Atlanta to do it Thursday. If you can't do it Thursday, then do it Friday. But highly suggest anytime. It take 10 minutes, just stop in, just get it done, and then you'll be good for the whole entire weekend. We got 85 South Comedy Show on Thursday.
Yep.
Shout out to 85 South. I think there's still some tickets left for that. So get your tickets. Go to 85south.com or investfest.com. And we got some more announcements, but we'll make later on in the show.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. I see a lot of people are coming to town. A lot of people creating their own little situations, which is dope, man. I love gathering of like-minded people for the common cause of being better. And that's what Invest Fest is. I'm excited, like I said. So make sure, like Shadi said, that y'all register Thursday, man, because Friday, if you should be doing it now. If you ain't doing it already, you should be doing it tonight. Go to the app, go to the website, look at the schedule, make sure you mark down the things that you absolutely cannot miss.
BlackRock, please don't miss out. That what time? Friday.
Create your schedule.
Check the schedule.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's on the Runner Shows on the app and on the website as well. So check the website, check the app. Runner Shows on there, full Runner Show, all 3 days.
Yeah, and you will see us. You're going to see us.
Ian, any announcements?
My phone bill is not paid. If you call me, I will not be available till next Monday. I will be on stage after Magic Johnson on Sunday. Market Mondays live on Saturday. Kev on stage. We'll shop for Blackout Friday. Be there. I can't wait to see y'all. Hug y'all. All the Hollywood stuff. But if you call me for anything this week, no.
The
call time, my mom, dad, Xander, and y'all. Sorry. See you in Atlanta.
See you in Atlanta.
It's gonna be tough.
Disclaimer?
It's going to be tough, man. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important that you do your own analysis based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice in connection with from a professional or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. People, do the research, continue to do the research, share the research. That's how we build community. That's how we build wealth. Let's win. Let's do it all, y'all. Love is love.
I will say on Sunday, though. My bad.
Go ahead.
On Sunday, though, I'm giving every prompt that you need to use ever for investing on stage, though. Presentation done. Ooh. Best one. Dense. Like you never are going to have to go anywhere else to learn anything about investing ever again. So see you Sunday.
It is.
And I'm going to give you my prompt to let you know what competitive companies and what CEOs could replace the one at this tech company that needs to be replaced. Too. Not my thought. GPT-5, Claude.
The pressure is mounting.
For sure.
Pressure's certainly mounting.
So
we're not gonna let it fail.
No,
we're going to talk about. We got two guests that's coming on today. Actually, two that will both be at InvestFest. Cedric Nash will be joining us in a little bit.
Yep.
And Tabitha Brown,
Auntie Tab,
will be coming on later on as well. So we got a lot to talk about. So we're going to talk about probably on Blackout the whole Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump thing. But stock futures drift higher ahead of Zelensky's visit. Kind of flat now as far as for the day, but there's some anticipation that that could lead to some level of breakthrough potentially. So what, if any, will this have on the stock market?
I think very little. As far as the futures market, expiration was just Friday. So you usually have a 25 to 28 day window to get all your trades done, but there's a hard deadline on which was a cutoff, and the 15th was that. Usually after expiration happens, the first 2 days are a little bit flat or slower. Do I think this will be enough of a blockbuster meeting to move the market one way or another? No. One of the biggest things that I'm going to be talking about on Sunday is to understand what's a real catalyst versus what is noise. Do I think the meeting will be great? Will tensions ease? Yes, but it's more noise than actual catalyst. So ES should drop back to 63.95 at some point this month, but this meeting won't be the reason why. Nowhere near close to it. More noise than catalyst for sure.
I'm with you. Even when I looked at the question, I thought more so for the futures market than anything. When you're talking about commodities, wheat obviously being something that's huge that comes from Ukraine, I think it affects those markets. I don't see it overall affecting the entire market. No. I mean, it feels like there's always some geopolitical tension somewhere. And so the talks, we might see something positive, but I don't expect to see any type of large uptick. I think that the big day on our calendar this week is Friday, when Jerome Powell will be speaking.
That's going to have way more impact and it's going to send more flooders into the market for sure.
Right. A couple of things could happen, right? I mean, it feels like he's not going to succumb to the pressure of the president, but, you know, all analysts are pointing that there will be a rate cut here in September. And it originally started at a quarter point, but now they're talking that potentially it could be half a point, which would send the market up. Or, right, the inverse, you could say, hey, things are not going where we expected. Valuations are out of control. And he says, you know what, we're not cutting rates at all. And then that mid to late summer pullback that we talked about is still
right there.
It'll be right in line. So I'm circling Friday as the day. I know he met with Putin last week, Zelensky today. I'm waiting for Jerome Powell. That's the guy that I need.
That's the catalyst.
Yeah, that's the guy I need.
Yes. If they move the market or they don't do anything with the rates, it could have an impact. But if he decides, like you said, 2 basis points or 0.5, we'll fly to the upside for sure.
Well, yeah, we're gonna go. It's gonna be a nice run. It's gonna be a nice run. Yeah. I mean, do you think he succumbs to the pressure, or do you feel like he even feels the pressure from the president?
I think he feels it, but I think he knows he can't succumb to it, and it's a great lesson. I think all of us can talk about, and at the time to a part of our conversation with Tabitha. When being a leader, you can't give in to the pressure of the noise. Like linear focus on, and I know this week for all of us, it's extreme focus on what the mission is. The mission is to make sure it's the best one that we've ever had at InvestFest. No outside noise matters. Noise versus catalyst. There can be a lot of noise and conjecture online and in public spaces, but at the end of the day, does it really make anyone's lives better? No. So true catalyst, Powell speaking, interest rate environment, true geopolitical threat. Like if that Putin and Trump meeting didn't go well, it would have been some friction in the market. He made sure to roll out the proverbial red carpet to make sure, even though he flew that jet over Putin's head.
The jet, the stealth bomber.
Yeah. So put in chat catalyst versus noise. A catalyst is what's going to have impact on the market in your life, not the noise at all.
Yeah, I'm happy either way. If we have a little pullback here, great. We got reserves ready to go. And if we're going on this bull run that goes through September, and some people might say maybe it's been baked in already. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be important there.
More importantly, just hold your money in the market. Stop looking for every little palpitation in the market to determine if you're going to get in and out. The real game is to just hold forever. Just hold. You'll be fine.
Forever.
So the real threat for retail isn't a Q2 earnings. It's forecast. Explain that.
I think a lot of people are so worried about earnings, but if you look at where the Buffett indicator is and where the projections could be, are we too value and are the stocks at too high of a place, and are we setting up for a pullback based on what's being produced? Every company is not NVIDIA. Every company is not Meta or Netflix. And I'm going through my research stack, and I keep seeing there's 10 companies that are producing 40% of the gains, not just the last 2 years, the last 25 years. They rotate the companies, but there's so much hyper concentration. It makes me wonder, are we a little bit too valued for everyone in crypto? Because Bitcoin pulled back to 115, that's not a crash. I want to be very clear. Like, we're nowhere near. People were texting me this morning, like, what do you think? I'm like, it's a normal pullback for the crypto market, but for something like the Russell 2000, which hasn't made a high since 2024, a little bit concerned about. For mid-tier tech companies and what AI is going to do to their business model, I am severely worried about. So I just think we need to have a little bit of a rebalancing and restructuring, but I don't think the earnings this quarter matter as much as what the valuations and true valuation will be going forward.
Yeah, I think people have to understand the difference between their earnings and the forecast, like you mentioned. The earnings is what they did in the past quarter. The forecast is the guidance, where they're headed. And
what's next?
There's an interesting stat that I read today that 60% of the S&P companies have surpassed their earnings per share forecast by a considerable margin in Q2. 60%. Yep. Of that 60%, 58 have raised their 2025 outlook, right? Indicating optimism and future performance. And so that's a good sign.
That is.
The key is that you can't find the data on specific retail. Some retail has done well, right? The Costco's of the world, the Walmarts of the world, TJ Maxx. And this is a big week because all those companies are going to be reporting. And then you have the laggards. And they're
Target, Dollar General.
Oh man, you got my notes, man. Target, Dollar, Lululemon's in that category.
Lulu's falling apart in front. What? It's like
Best Buys in that category. These are these companies. They all have something very unique about them, right? That that their competitors have, right? Or they don't have that their competitors do have. They have discounted prices and large audience, right? So if you think about Walmart, you think about TJ Maxx, even Costco, that discounted economy, right? That people who shop there, they're looking for savings. Now, you said something very important last week. You said the market and the economy are two different things, right? The market could be doing well. People are hurting. And when people are hurting, they're looking to make sure that they spend at a budget. They're more conservative with their spending. And so you'll see companies like Walmart do well. You see companies. Those are economic friendly companies. Lululemon is almost, I mean, it's retail, but it's discretionary, right? Like how many times are you going to shop there? Which is why you see Lululemon pull back. You see Nike pull back, even though they're trying to creep back up. Best Buy, right? Consumer electronics. Like how often are you going to buy a TV once you've got one?
In comparison with Amazon is your biggest competitor.
Well, there's that part. We're going to talk about Amazon later, but like.
And the rate of speed, that's what's concerning.
Yeah.
Starbucks, Nike, Lululemon, Dollar General, all fell more than 30% in less than 18 months. Like cataclysmic decline. These are some of America's biggest retail brands, and there seems to be no answer for Lulu, Nike, or Starbucks. Target. These are four of our major retailers that no one has an idea of how. Like, you don't even see CEOs going on platforms like ours and others to even vie to be the CEO to turn it around.
Yeah. So what does the future look like? So yes, everybody thought, hey, tariffs are coming. Q2, we'll start to see some downtrend in terms of how people are looking. Their earnings should come. That hasn't happened. But what does the future outlook look like for some of these companies? That is very much in question, especially when you're talking about recycled material, right? Over-indexing inventory. How do you get rid of this stuff? This is why, and we talked about this probably like in our first year on Earn Your Leisure about the importance of TJ Maxx, right? They actually thrive in those areas. Oh, you have over inventory, we'll take it, we'll sell it at a discount price, we'll make something from it. Macy's is another company. You want to talk about taking a hit? My gosh.
Death spiral. 2016 price was $52.48. They're currently at $13.16.
Miracle on 34th.
Big shout out to Reform. If you're not familiar with Reform is a criminal justice, I guess, organization that helps to rewrite laws. I know Meek Mill and Jay-Z and Van Jones have worked with, and Reform's been a part of InvestFest for 3 years now. I think they're doing a panel on Friday about how to re-entry, I believe, and it's a variety of different things in the criminal justice system that needs to be advocated for. So they're a nonprofit organization that advocates for people inside of the criminal justice system, people been affected by the criminal justice system, but also community-based organization as well. So one of the things that they're doing, this is the last thing for InvestFest, is that they're giving away 50 tickets to community-based people in the community. Wow. So if you go a general admission ticket, you enter code REFORM at checkout, and you get a free ticket. First come, first serve. 50 tickets. I would say don't do this if you're not gonna go, because if it's free, somebody in Alaska that got to go to work on Sunday and has a late shift on Friday, but like if you're in Atlanta, if you definitely can physically make it, right? Because it's only a couple days. So if you're actually in a position to make it, then utilize the code. But don't take an opportunity from somebody that actually can be there because you just want to just use the code, right? So, but thank you to Reform. Yeah. We're appreciative that they've come back to InvestFest for the third year, and appreciative that they're offering this incentive for people that may have issues economically and may not be able to afford a ticket but can still come. So it's always good. And you never know. One of those 50 people might be speaking at InvestFest in a couple of years, right? And one of those 50 people might be actually, a vendor in a couple of years. One of those 50 people might actually be, somebody that we're talking to on Market Mondays in a couple of years. You never know how some level of inspiration and education can change somebody's trajectory, especially young people, but anybody really. So take advantage of it if you're interested in going to InvestFest. And like I said, finances might be hard. It's tough times out here right now. So enter code REFORM at checkout. And there you have it. First 50, first come, first serve.
Yeah, shout out to Reform, man. They become a staple inside of the vendor marketplace. I know we pulled up a few years ago when Sean was there. That was a dope conversation, man. And so, yeah, man, they're helping out the people. Shout out to all our returning citizens. Shout out to everybody that is part of been incarcerated and has been coming out and trying to figure out what to do, what angle to go. Who to surround themselves with. It's equally as important as anybody else. And so you're going to see a lot of more work with us in that population as well, man, because we just feel like it's important. A lot of people are getting the information. Had they had it prior to, making some of these choices, things would have been a lot different, but no better time than now, man. So shout out to Reform again.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about crypto since you mentioned it. Yeah, a little slump in the crypto market for all of the major coins, but of course, anytime Bitcoin has some level of pullback, then people take note. So yeah, Bitcoin just last week, I believe, it was at 121,000. Now it's at 115,000. So slid around $6,000 in a short period of time. So is this something that people should start looking at buying opportunities? This is something that they should be concerned about. Should they be selling their Bitcoin? Like what exactly is the advice given for Bitcoin?
Selling an upward moving asset is a mistake. I want to be clear about that. If you're looking for an entry, 113,950, I like a lot. If you're looking to hold for the next 5 years, this move And I want to be clear, like the bigger the reward in terms of return, you're going to have a deeper drawdown cycle. This is not one of them. I know it may be uncomfortable, or if you're new to investing in Bitcoin, but from 125 to 115, that could happen a few years ago in an hour. So 113,950 is an area that I really like, but the things that I want to keep stressing is to stop worrying about the intraday movement if you're actually looking to build generational wealth. I'll tell you the time frames I want you to lose to be a sniper on your long-term Sunday at InvestFest, but there's no reason to panic over this if you're looking to hold for a 4 or 5 year period. And too often looking at the noise of the daily prevents you from getting wealthy on the long term. Like you can turn your life around holding some great assets for a 5 year period. Don't worry about this drop at all. This should not even be news.
Yeah, this is very common. I think what a deeper dive would be to look at the relationship between interest rates and the price movement of Bitcoin.
For sure.
And so when there was no talk for the past 6 months of having interest rates lowered, you watch Bitcoin ascend. Now we're here nearly in September, which everybody has circled as potentially an interest rate cut. You see here in August that it's pulled back a little bit. In fact, if they confirm at some point that there is going to be a half basis point cut, I would see that it falls just a little bit more. Does that mean you should, if it's an asset that you believe in for the long term, you should always be investing? I don't know how many times Shai's going to tell you the dollar cost average. That should be your strategy. This isn't be like, oh, hey, it's pulling back now.
This is not one of those moves.
You should always have been investing in it. So it's never a bad time unless, you bought it at an all-time high and it pulls back. But the education piece is important. So watch that relationship, watch the news around interest rates, and watch Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole. We even saw Ethereum last week at its all-time high, which is impressive. So yeah, just be mindful of it all.
The week of June 23rd, it was at 100,000. Last week it went to 125,000. Of course, there's going to be some pullback, and in a healthy asset, it has ranges in which you want, like you don't want an asset to be 25% up in a 4 or 5 week period because the drawdowns are going to be heavier. So, and then in April, it was at 77,000. Maybe you missed out in April, and maybe you missed out on a week of June 23rd. But no, just wait for a pullback. Like I said, if it gets to like 113,950, buy in, hold, and then we should probably be at, I don't know, 134 by September, October. Hold for the long term. And even if you bought it to high, if you just wait 3 or 4 months,
It'll be back.
It will be back. The thing that really hurts you is not having enough time in the market and waiting for all these moments, because it's a lot of people who will hear this today and then miss it out, and then it runs up and like, well, I got in. Well, I didn't know if I should have got in. Just buy it at the prices I call. Hold 4 or 5 year period, and you'll be okay.
So following that, what's one stock or cryptocurrency you're personally holding through the end of the year that you believe has the greatest upside potential?
I know y'all tired of me talking about it. The one I love and replace Apple with NVIDIA. The entire AI ecosystem is riding on the back of them. Are there others that could be parabolic? Now, if we look to the future, talking about IPO, OpenAI and Anduril. Right now, though, in publicly traded markets, all tides, they are the tide that will lift all AI boats. Sometimes in life, okay, if you were Phil Jackson, game on the line, Shotty, who you drawing to play up for? Isolation. MJ getting the ball, right?
That's a fact.
NVIDIA is MJ. Let's not overcomplicate it. I know we want to look at BBAI and isolation. You need to win. Throw the ball to NVIDIA.
I mean, I felt like, was this a trick question? You know what I was going to do?
What about the crypto?
But that's what I was going to say. If we had to invest, clear cut, it's NVIDIA, it's Bitcoin, right? Like that, we know that. If it wasn't those two, like this is Jordan, this is LeBron, right? One, however you want to put the order as the greatest, right? If it wasn't one of those two,
We're not doing that today.
What would be the company? Right? I think everybody that watches Market Mondays understands the importance of NVIDIA. That would be the answer. And Bitcoin.
There may be some people who are new who don't know.
Okay, so those are the two answers. Now let's challenge ourselves and let's say if it wasn't those two, is there one?
Yeah, the other one I call Microsoft. So okay, if I'm an investor in America, going back to 1920, should I invest in New York City or Iowa City, Iowa? The returns sometimes are just baked in the greatness of what the underlying asset is. When we first started the show, I'm like, the companies that have the most money are going to invest in the tech that matters the most. Microsoft is the greatest illustration of that. So I know sometimes we may want the new thing, and this is one of the things that stops sometimes our community from getting as wealthy as we could. We want to diversify into assets that have no chance of being a star asset. This isn't my thought. This is what BlackRock and Vanguard set and that other entity I can't talk about. The big three say open, even for the future. What's next? OpenAI and Anduril. They're next. Now it's NVIDIA and Microsoft. The entire ecosystem of AI is on the back of NVIDIA. Could you allocate to AMD, which I've had forever too? Yes, but NVIDIA is going to give you outsized gains. And we were there at NVIDIA. I can argue there's not a CEO in America that's better than Jensen right now. Nowhere near close.
I'm with you. I wanted to stress that because like people will overcomplicate this. Right? Like you tell them NVIDIA and they were like, nah, but what else is there? All right, Microsoft. I mean, I know those two, but what else? And I'm like, yo, bro. Those are two right there. Like let's start with those. Let's go. We can talk about other ones, but like those.
And if there were up and coming ones that had extreme promise, like I'll break down even on. Okay, the thing that made me love NVIDIA so early is the market share that they had in the space they were occupying. For those who built computers and actually bought the chip was better than like even when I'm like Intel is dead. If you compared NVIDIA chips to Intel, it was like horse and buggy versus a Porsche. It's no comparison. And it had 80% of market share. I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, and the real gains come from doubling down on the things that's working. There's a reason why y'all don't have Rap Fest this weekend. It's Invest Fest. I like Lil Yachty. I don't like what he said, but that's not the biggest driver of return. Double down on the thing that's working. A lot of times people will trick you out of your spot and say, well, you should do something different because they don't want you to see you be in a spot that they're not currently in.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll just throw two other ones in there. Obviously, I'm leading with those. And maybe, Shai, you could maybe, if you differ, I would be interested to hear. But I'll put Meta in there.
For sure.
Just based on everything I've read and some of the conversations I've had with them, I put them there, and I'll put Broadcom. You didn't say. Are we at that point now where the two tech two index is NVIDIA and Microsoft? Maybe not Apple, Microsoft. Are we there?
Tim Cook has. I told you.
Damn,
I don't want to mess up the relationship. I was gonna say it on stage. I'll give it to December.
Okay.
If they don't make a major acquisition by then, there will be a replacement. December 1st.
All right. Well, let's bring our first guest up. We got Cedric. All right, Cedric Nash. Thank you for joining us. Entrepreneur, investor, author. Is known
great
as
person.
Great. Let's lead with that.
Yeah,
great man.
Is known as your millionaire mentor, founder of the Oakland Consulting. He built a $90 million firm, empowers communities through his books, coaching, and he has a summit, Black Wealth Summit in DC. I think I know we did. I believe Ian did as well, participated in that in years past. So one of these people that's like, the entrepreneur that's been doing it behind the scenes for a long time, and now we're starting to step out and people are starting to, see him on social a little bit more, stuff like that. But first and foremost, thank you for joining us and thank you for being at InvestFest this weekend. Definitely looking forward to it for sure.
Hey, thank you for having me. I feel like I've arrived. I'm on EYL. This is a chance of a lifetime, man. Happy to be with you, brothers.
No problem. So, all right, let's get some gems if we can. I know you became a millionaire by 32. So what were the key decisions in your 20s that made that possible for you to be a millionaire in your early 30s? For the people that's watching that might still be in that age range or even older, but still just trying to figure it out.
The biggest thing is the reason why I call myself your millionaire mentor is because I had the privilege of having 4 millionaire mentors that poured into my mindset since the 11th grade. So when I was coming out of college, all I could think about was how could I mimic the lifestyle of my 4 millionaire mentors, which were rich in assets and poor in liabilities, but they had a very easy lifestyle. And so I was really drawn to that. And because of my access to them, I came out of college on fire, running to invest. In fact, as soon as I graduated from college, I bought my first piece of property from saving money, working as a consultant, installing systems for medical doctors. And so I saved up enough money coming out of college to buy my first condo, which I did. And then I continued going. So I basically created a wealth building system, starting with a person's paycheck that I'm hoping to talk and share about with at InvestFest, that allowed me to continue to build assets. And that was really the biggest thing, is just that exposure to the right mentors, and also reading a lot of books coming out of college. One of my mentors inspired me to read a lot, kept reading a lot of books on investing. So when I came out, I was just on fire, ready to do it. And I was also on fire to live frugal. It's like I grew up at a different timeline where we didn't do bottle service, right? We went to happy hour and the wings were free, right? So the drinks were cheap and the wings were free, and it was just a different time. So now there's this emphasis, emphasizing of kind of balling hard and rolling hard, so young people have a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah,
InvestFest is such a unique time, and again, thank you for taking part in it this year. You talk about the importance of having mentorship, but I think a lot of people are walking into this weekend as the mentee. So what are some of the characteristics that people should have when they're looking to seek someone of guidance and of mentorship?
That's really great. It's a great question, Troy. I actually wrote a chapter in my book titled How to Find a Millionaire Mentor. And I break it down. I go into deep details about where to find them, how to find them. And you can find them in places like InvestFest. That's the interesting thing about it. You find them in conferences. You find them at churches. You find them at fraternities, if you happen to be a member of the baddest fraternity of the land, which Robert Smith is. But you find them. You find them all over. And so that's where you can find them. And the important thing is just how you establish that credible relationship with them, to where you're actually following their advice. A lot of people don't like to follow the mentors. They want a mentor, but they don't want to do what the mentor tells them to do. And I was like that too at times. And they want a mentor, and they want to doubt that the mentor is credible. It's like, oh, gee, that was back in your days. Things have changed. Man, I have made, like I said, I wouldn't be in government contracting if it wasn't for one of my millionaire mentors who said, hey, you should consider government contracting, because he was. And that was Tim Wealth, and he died recently. In fact, at InvestFest, I'm going to show people his stock portfolio that he left me, which is amazing. There's going to be a lot of interesting insights on how he looked at investing in the market. But it was because I listened to Tim reluctantly, that I was able to grow my business to now to $100 million and doing mostly federal government contracting. So mentorship is just important. It challenges you, and he continued to challenge me, right? I'm sorry to go on, but he it's a story I'll never forget. He had a house in Naples. He lived in Oakland, California, around the corner from me. And I would stop by and visit him from my house in St. Pete, driving down to Miami. And one time I remember Tim was saying, he says, I was telling him how things were going, how, winning this contract, that contract. He says, that's great. He says, by now, you should have $1 million stacked up. I was like, shit, right? I was saving, but I was putting so much money in real estate that I wasn't creating liquid cash.
Yeah.
And so I left Tim's house, and I said, shit, I got to do that. Years later, I go back to Tim. I said, Tim, this is another conversation you guys have. I said, Tim, how much money do you think is needed to retire? Right? I thought the number was $5 million. I thought that was a good number. And Tim was like, shit, This is how he was. He was very crass. He was acute. He's like, shit, when I retired, I had 15 million. I was like, damn, right? So every single time he would do that shit, it would challenge me
to level up.
And that's the power of a good mentor. First of all, they're real. They're not just a guy that's basically flashy. They've got real shit going on. And then second of all, they challenge you. And then third of all, if you don't step up, they won't continue to take your call. If they don't see that you're basically putting in the work and making a difference, they're not going to waste their time with you, because good ones don't have time, right?
Question for you. I can't let you leave us off on that cliffhanger. What insights did you get from Tim's portfolio that you can share with our audience tonight? I can't let you skate out.
Ian, I'm going to share it when I present, man. I can't.
Give us one tip. Come on, brother. Please.
One tip.
Yeah.
The one tip that it's going to be interesting, because you talk often about, because you focus a lot on tech. He had zero tech.
Interesting. Okay. What industry was he focused on? What industry was he focused on?
He was across the board on from utilities, banking, just solid core stocks. And I'm sure his wife still has that portfolio. He just died a couple of years ago from Parkinson's. But it was like, I'm going to show the 14 stocks that Tim had about 15 million spread across, earning $750,000 a year in income. So you know where he was getting the income from, right, Ian?
Good move. Yep.
Exactly. So he had zero tech just because that wasn't his background. And when he did federal government contracting, he did security guard services and was stacking his cash, but he was just so disciplined with his money but not only that, he lived well. I mean, all his properties were paid for. So people wonder where I mimic myself from. Why do I do the same things? It's because of my millionaire mentors. And that's why it's so important.
Talk about your consulting firm as far as like IT, right? On the tech side. Speaking about tech, that's kind of your background.
Exactly.
Talk about the company, how you scaled the company. Like give the audience, an overview of that.
It's interesting. I'm kind of untraditional in that I was a bootstrapper. I started my company from my own savings, and I just kept building and building one client at a time. So the good news is I own 100% of it, and I don't have to worry about anyone coming after me, and we remain debt-free. And I'm in the space, what they call enterprise application software. That's something that Robert Smith knows all too well, because that's what he does. He buys enterprise application companies. The companies I work with are the largest software companies in the world in their space. So if you look at Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, you look at pretty much Chevron, all these companies use their software to run their business. So it runs their accounting, it runs their HR. It's called enterprise application software. It runs their manufacturing, their supply chain software. It runs all of that. And so what my company does is we not only, we sell the software to these companies as a reseller, but we also implement the software. So for example, even the Army spent $9 billion implementing SAP, and they continue to spend money putting in SAP. And so we have contracts to provide that support. I happen to be very, kind of very rare business, especially Black-owned business, that work in these software products. The one that we're really hot on now is a product called Workday, which is a HR solution product that the founder of Workday used to be the founder of PeopleSoft. And when Larry Ellison from Oracle took over PeopleSoft on a hostile takeover, kind of like without Dave Duffield knowing it, he stole basically the company. And so now PeopleSoft has been consumed into Oracle. Well, Dave's response was 6 years after being acquired was to create Workday, which is a fully cloud-based enterprise application system for finance and HR. And it has taken the world by storm. So Dave is worth about $10 billion. I had the privilege of meeting him, but he created a software product that was just amazing. We happened to get involved in that software. We sold the state of Maryland, and now we're putting in payroll for the state of Maryland. We're doing work for the state of New York, and we're doing work for the state of California. All of these agencies that have bought this software. So it's amazing software. A lot of people aren't familiar with that space, but let me just tell you something. I've been making money off this software for the past 30 years. Steve Jobs has a favorite quote. He says, you can't connect the dots looking backwards. You can only connect them forward. but you have to believe that your dots are going to connect somewhere in your future. Mm-hmm. And so you have to keep connecting those dots no matter what. You have to believe in faith, karma. And he says this has made all the difference in his life. I'm saying that is because we make choices every single day that could make a difference as to how we're going to succeed in the future. And so that's the interesting thing about entrepreneurship and the whole 9 yards. You never know. Entrepreneurship is an experiment. You just have to trust your gut and work your butt off and just hope that the dots connect. But I tell you one thing, in a speech I gave in Houston not too long ago, if you look back at your path, even you as EYL, all the dots make sense. But sometimes they don't make sense moving forward. But they definitely do looking backwards.
I just want to put a fire in the chat for you for taking over the state of Maryland and New York. We just can't breeze over things like that. Right? Like we gotta applaud these things as they happen. We have a unique audience. Obviously, we have people who are just graduating or just entering college and graduating. And then we have mature earners, right? Mm-hmm. This mindset of getting to the million is very important. To both audiences, what type of advice do you give them? Because the kid who's leaving college is trying to get a job just to pay back student loan. The person that's of a mature age or mature earners are saying, you know what, it's kind of late in the game for me. I don't know if it's going to work. What is your advice to both demographics? My advice is, and I say this all the time, is becoming a millionaire isn't hard. It's just slow, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to kind of find a way to be consistent. And that's the tough part. That's the tough part of the deal, is that consistency pays off. Now, you guys come out here every Monday, and whatever time you guys come out, and you guys are constantly pouring these concepts and these ideas in people's head as to what they should do with their money. The big question is, what do they do with it? And do they stay consistent despite the fact that the economy is going up and down, the stock market goes up and down? Do they just basically hold their head down and become consistent? And I'm trying to change around so my light gets better. But the whole point is like, it's all about consistency. It's all about, you guys know the principles, dollar cost averaging, consistently, just pounding. And that's what it is. And a lot of people, and that's why, developing the millionaire mindset is so key, because if your mindset's vacillating constantly, and then not only that, marketers are spending billions of dollars to kind of make sure that you buy their stuff. Absolutely. No buy mine. Right. And so it's so easy to fall off your game and you lose that consistency. And that's really what it is. It's like, it's investing all the time. I hate to say it. It's not the Dave Ramsey approach. It's not paying down debt and then start investing. It's like investing regardless of if you have debt. Right. That's really what it is. And then invest your way out of debt, because your investments can do a better job of paying off your debt than you can. Mm-hmm. And so that's the one thing in our community that I'm so passionate about, is that we just got to get started investing, even if it's $5, $10, $15, $20, right? And you'll be amazed as you start seeing the results, how that inspires you to invest more and buy less. That's the thing to me, Troy, that I think is just so key.
What principles do you think are everlasting when it comes to becoming a millionaire, and what mistakes do you see a lot of people making now? Because there's so much more information. The pipeline of investing information has gotten wider, but what mistakes do you see people making that are easily avoidable?
I think that this is what happens, man. And I completely get it. And I don't want to broad brush this and make people think that I don't get that there are setbacks along the way. I mean, I wrote a chapter in my book called Navigating the Setbacks. There are so many setbacks along the process. And it feels like the moment you get started, you get basically derailed by this expenditure that you have, or by this thing that you have, and it throws you off your game and you stop. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, the name of the game is to kind of just continue to stay focused despite what's going on, and deal with your setback as you have to, but then get back in the game, get back up again, and keep moving. Now, I know these sounds like basic principles and not investing principles, but they really, really are. I mean, Warren Buffett didn't become how he was because he did not make mistakes from time to time. That mistakes happen. I make mistakes. You just get back up. I'll never forget I'll give you an example. In 2007, 2008, during the housing crash, I think I had, owned some Washington Mutual, which Washington Mutual was a big savings and loan company. Yeah. And the stock was about to tank, and I got on the plane to come to my house in Tampa, and I was like, shoot, I meant to sell the stock. By the time I landed, the stock had tanked. But you know what I did? I bought Berkshire Hathaway B, $70 a share, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So the whole point is like, if you fall out of love with the stock, or if you fall out of love with the company, don't just sell and put the money in your pocket and pay the capital gains. I mean, you're going to pay the capital gains if you have one. Basically buy something else. Find another asset or another. And look at Berkshire Hathaway B now. I made the biggest mistake by not putting more into Berkshire Hathaway B. Oh, I made a huge mistake.
$477.
What is it? For what?
$477.
Yeah.
$477.
It's always a trade-off. Yep.
Yeah. About it, $70. That's like an index, right?
Yep.
It's so diverse. So I love what you guys are doing. And I just can't applaud you enough for what you're doing. You guys have been doing this for 5, 6 years, 7 years now, Troy?
Yep. Just about. Yep.
Yeah. And so the whole point is there should be so much results from the effort that you guys are putting forth. But if they don't have results, it's because people aren't being consistent. They're falling off. They're losing their focus, and they're not paying it. It's not popular. It's not hot anymore. So let me go to something else. No, this is your life, man. Your money is your life.
Livelihood.
Yeah, it's your livelihood. And now that it's your kid's livelihood if you're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change our community unless, like I said, there's the will and the way, right? So you guys have been teaching the way for 7 years. You, myself, and a whole bunch of other folks that you guys know have been teaching the way to our community. And we come on and we say, well, I had nobody in my family with money to teach me anything. Well, you guys have been doing it. But the problem is, the way is no longer the problem. And it never was the problem. The problem was always the willingness to do what it takes, right? The willingness to make the right sacrifices, the willingness to be consistent. That's where our success comes from within our community. So what we have to do, all four of us, is we got to work on that will part, right? Because we're never going to change the racial wealth gap if we don't fix the will, right? The Bible says that where there's a will, there is a way. Because when there's a will, you'll find a way. So we have to stop using this way as an excuse for not doing what we need to do, and start digging deeper to say, well, why do I quit? Why do I fall off? Why do I fail to be consistent? Why do I allow setbacks to prevent me from pushing forward what I need to do? And that's what we've got to do. We got to push past these moments, and that's where success really is pushing past those difficult moments.
As a follow-up, how do we raise the will of the community at scale?
I think they acknowledge it, and to make them acknowledge it, and it's a repetitive thing, right? It's one of those things that we can't have this one Zoom session or this one podcast session and think that we're going to move the needle. It's like pounding. It's like constantly challenging and checking and basically having people check in and having them measure it. You have to measure your success, right? That's what I do with the Black Wealth Growth Challenge. We measure your growth challenge. We want to know, are you making progress? And not everybody on the call really does it. And it bothers me. And one time I want to basically say, man, am I not being effective? Am I not? But what I realize though, is that if they're in the room and they're hearing other people get progress, eventually they may latch on. There you go.
So let me ask you this, switching gears, but also important conversation when it comes to wealth. I know, in your life, everybody has challenges. You went through a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
So talk about how you can navigate keeping your wealth after a divorce.
I love that, and Rashad, that's a book I actually want to write. It's like How to Become a Millionaire After Divorce, because divorce wipes out people financially. It's a complete reset. And, I went through a divorce, kind of at a worse time when, my business was in 2002, 2003 was the big .com bust. And I was into consulting big. I used to work for Deloitte and Ernst & Young, and I was on my own at that time. And clients didn't want to see a consultant after Y2K. They're like, we're tired of spending all this money on advice. And, Y2K wasn't as big as it was. And the .com isn't as big as it was supposed to be. So business was tough. I mean, 2002, 2003, and I was in red ink. And that was the same time my ex-wife, my son's mothers, and I decide to go our separate ways. And I was left with $500,000 in debt from with Wells Fargo Bank. My line of credit was called because I was using my line of credit to keep the business afloat. And so, so if you're getting a situation, you find yourself getting divorced, I think the first thing that you have to really do is kind of focus on your offense, focus on keeping your income strong, focus on your skills. And then also you have to be steady about what you do with your money, because now you have less money to do. And for me, I had to stop paying for my son's college funds, for a few years until I resorted out my finances, right? And my divorce, caused me to sell my big house in Oakland Hills and pretty much give her all the proceeds, but I kept my apartment buildings. So if you have multiple assets in your family, what I did with my ex-wife, I was like, okay, we got this, we have this equity in our house. I'm buying out my apartment buildings, the ones I had in Jersey City back in 2003 and in DC, right? So I bought her out of those and held on to those. And there was a year when I couldn't even pay myself. So people think I got a job and I get a divorce and that's bad. But think about being an entrepreneur, getting a divorce, having to split up half of your assets and having to pay alimony and child support and trying to figure out your life moving forward. But what was really helpful, Troy, was the fact that I kept a frugal mindset. And I was really responsible in doing what I was supposed to do to my ex-wife and my kids. So I kept a frugal mindset and I just went low to the ground, man. People wouldn't have known it, but I was not spending money on clothes. I wasn't spending money on anything, but I held on to my investments. And in fact, I figured out a way to invest more because I had assets. So my advice to people going through that is to develop this frugal mindset. Lay low and keep moving forward. Keep investing your way. And in time, you'll see your way out of it. And so that's really, really key. And one of the things, like I said, that worked for me was buying real estate in Jersey City in 2003. And if you guys live in New York and know what's happened with Jersey City, it's exploded.
It's booming.
It's booming. So it's a matter of basically make sure you take care of your responsibility. Make sure you do what you have to do. Continue to invest, continue to work on your income, and you'll dig your way out of it. But too many people look at divorce as saying, I don't want to make no more money because if I do, she's going to hit me up for more child support. I'm like, don't punk out. Just, be responsible. Do what you have to do, but get busy on your offense, get busy building up your income and continue to invest. And although it may not feel like this 10, 15, 20 years down the road, like Steve Jobs, connecting the dots, looking forward, you'll see that it worked out. My 3 boys graduated college. One of them got his MBA in finance. We have a great relationship. My net worth is gone up probably 15, 20 times since then because I didn't give up. And that's really what it's all about.
What about the prenup?
Oh, yeah. Well, I hate to air my dirty laundry, but I've been married twice. But anyway, so the first time I didn't have
you got divorced twice?
I got divorced twice.
That's the next book.
That's the next book.
For real.
Yeah, I've been divorced twice, which is interesting, Rashad, because my second wife, her and I were really still good friends. She worked at my company for a lot of years. She's a lawyer. And what was interesting about it is that we came into the marriage unequally financially yoked, which was challenging, right? My net worth is here. She was about 10 years younger than me. And she
can you raise your hand a little higher? We're under the screen.
Oh, we're under the screen.
Oh, thanks.
So,
all right, right there's
so
good.
my net worth was here and hers was down here.
Okay.
So in the prenup, which that set the relationship off the wrong foot, right?
The prenup did?
Huh?
The prenup or the imbalance in
the
finance?
prenup, which it often does.
Mm.
Even though women say, well, I'll gladly sign a prenup. That's no problem. Okay. Well, I didn't really know what a prenup was. A lot of people don't know what it really is. So I went and hired an attorney through my recommendations. And my attorney was putting my prenup together and we were getting married and he was running behind on getting it done. So it was kind of forcing some pressure there. So by the time he delivered the prenup and her attorney reviewed it, she felt like she really couldn't trust me anymore. She already had doubts anyway, but she really felt like she couldn't trust me. Because what a prenup is when you get married, there are inalienable rights to a marriage that the state gives you, right? And so when you give a prenup, what it's saying is, I'm waiving my right to this, his income. I'm waiving my rights to this, his assets. I'm waiving my rights to all these things. And you're like, wait a minute, it feels awkward. It's like, I have a right for that, and then now I'm giving it away. So a lot of people, it kind of blows their mind. Even though there are concessions that says, well, if we got a divorce by this time, you would get this. But hey, you're a lawyer, you make good money. It's like, and you have a child, and I got 3 boys. So it was very, very difficult. And the moment that we signed it, which was like, it was supposed to not be through duress, but it ended up being kind of through duress because she waited till the last minute right before we got married. It just put the marriage on the wrong foot. So after dating for 10 years and being married for 5 years, we ended up calling it quits. And my prenup, it held. And so what's interesting is about the prenup is, like, a lot of people say they want it till they read it, and their lawyers give them feedback, and it's difficult. Then her lawyer wanted to write my prenup after that. She was like, oh no, let me rewrite it. I was like, no, you can't write a prenup to protect my assets, right? Yeah, I'm not going to go for that. So it's very complicated, and a lot of people struggle with that notion. But look at it this way. I don't know if I know you guys have one son or kid, and I know, Troy, you have 2, 3 kids. I was thinking, like, I can't get a divorce. You have 2 kids. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yo, listen, man. We married, man. I'm just trying to stay in this lane.
Right.
Yeah, just two.
But the whole point is, like, if I got a divorce from my second wife, and because I had a will too, because if I died, I was going to give her 25% of my assets. The other 75% was going to my sons. But if I died and my assets went to her without a prenup, then my sons could have had a situation where she wouldn't have paid for their college.
Yeah.
My sons could have been in a situation where they've got nothing. So my rationale for a prenup was, my sons are everything to me. There's no way in the world I'm going to work this hard and not, like my dad say, have them start from my shoulders.
Yep.
Not from the ground. So I needed to make sure that they were taken care of. And that was the crux of the prenup. What was interesting is there's 3 sides of a prenup. There's make sure my hands on the camera. There's my assets, her assets, and ours. And so how it goes is my assets could continue to grow, right? And I would still own them as long as they were titled to me. And then her assets would do the same thing, right? She had a condo that would continue to grow. But if we titled assets together, that's what we would split. And that's how it was written. So we never really had any assets together. So therefore, when we got a divorce, I kept my assets, she kept hers, and I entered the concession part of my prenup. But it's an interesting thing, and it really sometimes damages relationships because people start looking at you like, do you trust me or whatever. We end up divorced. We end up good friends. She stayed in my company for a lot of years. She's now a tech lawyer for major government contracting businesses because she worked in my business. And I raised her daughter like my daughter. So it's like, it's all good, but that's the challenge.
That's a powerful conversation.
Sure.
Even more powerful testimony. I didn't realize it, but I think me and Shawty were having a conversation, and he was like, "How many people do you know have prenups?" And I'm like, "I don't know any." Now that I think about it, I really don't know any. So, just not having an education around it can cost you. But you talked about assets, and I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the ones that you've accumulated in real estate. You talked about the Jersey City. We were actually in Jersey City last night at a wedding. Congratulations to Cheryl and Alex. And yeah, you can see like the developments are happening there. How do you go about choosing where you're going to create a new asset class, which state, commercial, residential? How do you go about it?
Yeah, there's 2 ways I look at it. First of all, I look at a property's capitalization rate. And capitalization rate, now a lot of people buy multifamilies and they don't really do the numbers and they don't do the analysis. So I look at capitalization rate is the annual net operating income over its sales price. And annual net operating income is essentially the rents minus the operating expenses equals the net operating income. So you multiply that times 12 and you divide it by the sales price. And typically cap rates for properties vary, but they really range around anywhere from, the ideal number is to kind of get it around 6 to 8%. That's what people try to buy them at. But when real estate is real expensive, properties are trading at a cap rate of about 4% or even 3%, right? When it's really highly sought after. And you got to make it up with rental income over time. So when I was in Jersey City, so that was number one. The other two is, the second thing is I look at locations. I look at 4 things by locations. I look at closest to water is my number one. So if you look at most of my properties, like even my backyard right now is on the water. My condo in Miami is on the beach. My properties in Jersey City was really close to the water. Like I was on the water on one property, but then the multifamily I bought was only like a train ride away, which is the second thing I look for. And that is transportation. Am I close to a major hub through transportation? So am I like either close to New York City or am I close to a train that will get me to New York City pretty easily? And the third thing I look for is, am I in a city that has restaurants and has a high walkability factor? Because people tend to want to be in those areas. And I say that if you pick a property based on those 3 or 4 things, also a city that has great job growth. Jersey City had incredible job growth since 9/11. So if you focus on those 4 things, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when the property is going to go up. Look at Newark, right? Yeah, and so if you look at a city, you just kind of keep going further out the ecosystem. You follow the transportation. And when I bought it, Jersey City was just putting their light rail train in. So I went and bought properties along the light rail that people can walk 3 or 4 blocks to the light rail. And those properties have gone up tremendously as a result. So those are the 4 things that you look at. But after you find the property, you got to do the analysis of the numbers to basically see if the property makes sense. It's so important that you know the numbers, that you just don't buy it because the rent minus the mortgage payment seems right. There's a whole lot of factors that you need to look into, including vacancy factor, including the operating expense. And now that the property taxes are huge, because when you buy it, your property taxes, especially in Florida, are going to go up. Property taxes in Florida about 2% the price of the property because we have no income taxes in Florida. So you have to really look at all the numbers, and that's what I teach, and that's what I like for people to know.
Did you know Jersey City and Newark were going to develop into what they are now 20 years later? And if so, like what resources, what conversations, what meetings were you having with government to know what the development was going to be so you could know what the multiple is going to be in 10 to 20 years?
That's a great question, Ian. First of all, I was living there. So when I started my consulting company, my first client was Panasonic in Secaucus, New Jersey. So we were putting an SAP there, and I was managing a project there. And I had a consultant that worked at Citibank for me, and I had to bring her a check. I went to go bring her a check, and she was living in Jersey City. And in that section of Jersey City, we're looking at the World Trade Center. There was nothing there but this one building right in the corner, beautiful building called Portside. And in fact, the owner went bankrupt, right? Because he was way ahead of his time. So I paid her that money, but since Panasonic was paying my expenses to the tune of $12,000 a month, I was like, I don't want to stay in hotels no more. I'm going to go get an apartment. And I went down there and got an apartment right where she was. So I was there from like 2000 to like around 2004. And I just saw all the building going. It was crazy, right? And then I was like, I need to buy something over here. So I started looking at row houses, multifamilies, and the numbers were astounding. It's like anything you bought made money. There was positive cash flow. And that's what I saw. And I was looking to buy in California. This is around the time I finished reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was looking to buy in California, but you couldn't find multiple units that cash flowed. It was like you had to do a 1031 exchange to lower the payments in order to get a positive cash flow. But in Jersey, every property you found at that time, you made positive cash flow. I wish I would have bought more. So when I sold my condo at the time I got a divorce to move to DC, I started buying up buildings there. That's what I saw. But then also, Ian, to your point, there's a city map. If you go to different places you want to invest in, the city will have a map of their development plan of different areas. And there was a Morris Canal development plan that I wasn't even aware of. But I just happened to stumble upon it at the city and saw that there was real plans for big development there. And I knew that it was going to happen. So like you said, city officials, you just go to the city planning office and find out if there's a city plan for the area that you're interested in.
That's a great gem.
Well, Cedric, my brother, appreciate you coming on. I know you're gonna be actually doing a panel and a presentation at InvestFest. So
Yes.
Definitely suggest everybody go check out the panel, the presentation, and just network with Cedric in general. You know, very personable brother, good brother. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing the wisdom. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you at InvestFest.
Likewise, looking forward to be there. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, my brother.
Man, we'll see you in a few days, man.
Okay, take care.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.
Conversation.
Yeah, man.
Your brother Cedric Nash.
Great dude, man.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah,
one of my favorite people.
Yeah,
we made it through that whole thing without shouting out our brother Lou Tucker, man. Shout out to Lou.
Shout out to Lou, man. You know, I had to ask about that prenup situation.
That's a great, and not many people have been through that to have the discussion.
Oh, it's powerful, bro. I mean, you don't know. You don't know.
It's a financial conversation.
It is. It's a responsible conversation. It's a mature conversation, and it's a needed one.
Because some of you out there are the NVIDIA plan for some of them that you're dating.
The NVIDIA plan.
Oh my God, he didn't sign a prenup. That group chat be lit. In 4 years, in 4 days, it's over.
Tied to a rocket.
And Cedric, you know, he's one of these people. He's an extremely wealthy person, but a lot of people don't recover from it. So he was able to recover from his first divorce, but that's, you know, that's something that sometimes you can't even recover from. So
yeah,
recover from it and sought love again,
but learned his lesson and got the prenup.
Smart move. Took care of the kids.
Can't fool me. Can't fool me twice.
Feed the babies.
Can't fool me twice.
Feed the babies. I like that. That I'm actually gonna take that from him, man. We always talk about we don't want our kids to start from the dirt, but like, nah, they need to start from our shoulders, not from the ground. That's it.
I'm not gonna give me twice.
Or it's me the first time.
Pick the right one and pick the kiddies up.
Put in chat. How y'all feel about?
You choose.
How y'all feel about that? Y'all signing the prenup?
Trey, what?
You choose. It's a choice. It's a choice. Tied to a rocket.
Put in chat.
Send it into outer space. I know you wish he could.
Oh man. Okay. First and foremost, shout out to the good folks at Block. They have been very just warm and welcoming to us. They're doing an activation. We've shot content with them. They're fully brought into InvestFest as a company. They're like fully on board. So we greatly appreciate it. Now, one thing about business is that you're always gonna have some level of monkey wrench that come into the situation. But how you pivot is how you actually
absolutely
what you'll be known for in the grand scheme of things, right? So unfortunately, Jack Dorsey is on another continent and his travel schedule, he got hit with some last minute things and he won't be actually physically able to be in Atlanta. But we are going to have the conversation with Jack Dorsey. We're going to do it live and we're going to teleport it. So he's going to do it. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be a virtual conversation live, and he'll be on the screen. It'll be in real time. So, you know, that energy will be there. And they wanted to kind of see how they can add some level of extra added incentive for the crowd, being that he's not going to be able to physically be there. So what we're going to do is that we're actually going to accept 5 questions from anybody that's coming to InvestFest.
That's incredible.
wants to ask Jack Dorsey a question. So if you email inquiries with an S at the end, inquiries@earnyourleisure.com from now until Friday. If you're going to InvestFest, email a question. We're going to pick 5 questions and we're going to ask the questions to him live when we're interviewing him. So actually, Elon Musk did something similar to this as far as the live. And I think it was in Saudi Arabia. They had a big investment conference and he wasn't actually able physically to be there. But, you know, it's pretty common actually, especially in the tech world where sometimes, you know, you get hit with last minute things. So Jack Dorsey won't physically be in Atlanta, but the conversation will be live. It will be on the main stage, big screen, and we will be taking questions from the audience, 5 questions pre-submitted to inquiries at earnyourleisure.com, and we will ask him those questions during our conversation.
I'm looking forward to it.
And Block will be in the building, and Booth will be in the building, and the whole team will be in the building. But sometimes you got to pivot. But first and foremost, we're grateful that he even has enough time to have the conversation. He's one of the richest people in human history. So to carve out that time in his schedule to do it live, and he said he definitely wanted to do it live, so it just had that feel to it. I think it's going to be a magical moment.
Yeah, and that means that you need to be in your seat, right? Because when Tamika, your question gets read, I'm gonna call your name, and I want you to be in your seat so you can get the credit for your question. And they were so gracious, like you said. I mean, the team has been absolutely incredible. When you talk about real partnership, this is what we have now forged with Block, and they got some dope incentives, right? They got some incentive. We can't announce the incentive, but we got some dope. Make sure you are in your seat for that conversation. I mean, you should be there anyway. It's Market Mondays Live. It's Jack Dorsey. We're talking about crypto. We're talking about billionaires. Be in your seat. There's some initiatives and some announcements that we're going to have live on stage. It's going to be dope. So make sure you're in your seat. I want to say your name out loud. I want you to get credit for your question.
Oh yeah, it's a big thing that we're going to announce. Right? That they're going to announce. Yeah. Jack is going to announce.
Exactly.
Jack is going to announce something at InvestFest at the end of the conversation.
Saturday, be there, please.
Yes.
And one of the greatest tech entrepreneurs. If you look at what he just built in Twitter, Block, new initiative, mass adoption of Bitcoin. He's one of the hands down one of the greatest entrepreneurs of the last 100 years. So you do not want to miss the conversation.
The new innovation that they've created,
insane.
I've never seen anything like it, ever.
Insane,
ever. Like
he's often an innovator in the tech
space.
space.
That's a fact. Okay, Warren Buffett. So what's the deal with Warren Buffett and United Health?
Last week I said that I think United Healthcare is uninvestable, and Buffett bought into it. Well, hit the team at Berkshire. Shout out to everyone at Berkshire. Love you dearly. Bought into it, and then Twitter and my text for a blaze. I want to give context. I still feel the same way on a long-term basis until they have a new CEO and some of the scandal goes away. But this isn't even 1% of the allocation for Berkshire. So it would be the equivalent if hypothetically back in the day you saw Jordan with a Reebok shirt on because he was working out. It's like that doesn't mean he's now endorsing Reebok. I think sometimes when we look at the 13F, the thing that we're missing is the allocation. I think the price disparity, though, of United Healthcare was so wide that a lot of people end up jumping into it because it is at a multi-year low. But my question is, has the fundamentals of the business changed? And if we want to go into blackout for a little second, what is being hidden through this trial and the murder of the CEO that is not really being exposed about the strength and weakness of the business? Is it still one of the biggest companies in the world? For sure. Is it a quality company? No, not what it used to be. And my main question for any investment is, if your life and your child's life was on the line and this investment had to pan out, would you put all of your money into it? For me, and for most of you, United Healthcare is a no. So don't overhype it and act as if United Healthcare replaced Apple as the prime investment in his portfolio when it's not.
I think he wasn't the only one. Michael Burry bought some had millions of shares as well. But if you study Buffett, this is just kind of like what he does. You're gonna find legacy companies at deep discounted prices.
Yep.
And hey, the downside has been cooked in. We're talking about something that was at a high of 630, and that was earlier this year.
Last year, yeah.
Right? It got down to 234. Right now we're trading at around 313, 314. Deep discount, legacy company. Like you said, if a move like a CEO changing, or the way that policy is written, or the way that insurance is handled, that changes. He's not thinking of 2025 when he does this. He's thinking of 2035, 2045, right? I got it at a deep discount. that was corrected. I have a clear understanding of the healthcare industry and the space.
Yeah.
I'm getting this I mean, it's a typical move. So we'll see how it pans out. Like, but he's not thinking this year we're gonna have a return on it long term for sure.
At all.
Okay. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about China. So China orders tech firms to suspend NVIDIA chip purchases over security concerns. So Chinese regulators have reportedly told major tech companies, including ByteDance and Alibaba and Tencent, to stop buying NVIDIA's H20 AI chips due to security concerns. The order applies to projects involving government and national security. This comes after the U.S. allowed limited exports of downgraded AI chips to China, including NVIDIA's H20, which has designed to meet an earlier export rule. In April, the U.S. banned exports of certain chips due to national security concerns, leading to a reported $5.5 billion loss for NVIDIA. The ban was lifted in July after license approvals were granted, but Chinese officials remain cautious. What are your thoughts?
It's understandable, right? When we talking about why they were able to now sell in China, it was one of these things that we have to track where it's going, right? They might have found the culprit of how those hoppers got into China, but you can understand if you have monitoring devices on semiconductors that are going to another country that are using it for
being installed in the government.
Installed in the government. I mean, that raises a red flag for me. Obviously, it raises a red flag for them, but this is completely understandable. But it goes to the fact, and we've been saying it all year, and even when we said it in January, it tells you, yes, China, huge force when it comes to the advancement of semis. When we thought DeepSeek, they were close, right? They were right there. It still tells you that the company that they need, if they want to perform at the highest level. Now, you could perform, right? But it just won't be at the highest level. In fact, if you're using Hopper, you're already not at the highest level, right? So it's understandable. It makes a lot of sense. They'll figure this out.
Like first said, totally understandable. But going back to the question, if I had to put money into a company for the rest of the year, no company is this valuable on both continents. AMD, as good as they may be, I had a Ryzen chip in 2018 in my desktop. It's nothing like what NVIDIA has. Like, I think people don't understand it. NVIDIA chips are a class above the competition. It's anyone who knows anything about tech, it's no comparison. It's PS5 versus PS2. So should China protect their national security efforts? Yes, but this just tells you how valuable this company and these chips are.
Yeah.
And if Intel wouldn't have got lazy for 19 years, they would be here.
We could talk about the Intel situation.
We'll talk about it.
That's a very unique situation. But it begs the question of, Jensen's obviously been the CEO of NVIDIA since 1986, I believe. If he waits 3 years, do you think that does he design a chip specifically for China, or does he just say, let me just wait for 3 years and I'll heed to some of the regulations now, but in 3 years we're going to be here still, and they're still going to be in the lead, and it's just back to business as usual?
If we are in an AI war and AI will make the foundation and bed for quantum, would him making a chip exclusively for China be an act of technological treason?
Not specifically for China, but maybe a chip that can be sold to China and other countries.
Other countries part is where it gets
right.
I think what's best in national interest, they're going to have to find a way to subsidize NVIDIA to not have an incentive to sell to China.
It's going to be tough. You need it. AMD needs it for sure. Right? We talked about it last week about from a GPU standpoint, CPU standpoint, that Ryzen chip, the new one, it kind of needs that Chinese market. They have to figure out a common ground here, whether it's, and I know that the license is under review and supposed to be coming before the end of this month. So we'll see. And that would be one of those catalyst events that you talked about and alluded to earlier catalyst events like that, what's happening inside of licensing of who can sell and what they can sell to China, that would be one of those things that if it does happen, we're gonna see a bull run again.
Yeah.
As far as trading, question from the audience: once trading becomes consistently profitable, how do you structure it like a business? What percentage of profits do you typically allocate to personal spending, taxes, insurance, reinvestment, etc.?
It's a great question. Everyone always hates my allocation, but I can only tell you what I've done. The most important thing is once you start making, especially the futures market, because it's so volatile and edge can decay so fast, you have to put half of your trading profits into long-term companies. Your best return is going to be taking the short-term gains and then applying it to long-term assets, so that makes money for you while you're asleep. That's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Personal spending, I have very extreme thoughts on how much money you should spend in a year and over a decade, and what should be. You don't have to do that, but I do think, as Cedric just highlighted, you have to live frugal. I know everyone wants to go and show off online right away, but I think in this era, I think this is like the most balling era ever that has the least amount of assets. I see people with cars and everywhere, and it's like the debt adding up like crazy. So keep the spending low, build infrastructure and team around you to be sustainable. But when I see other people try and pursue it another way from trading, they usually blow up their accounts and then have all the overhead of $30,000 and a $50,000 a month lifestyle. And guess what? When you have that much overhead, it's really hard to trade consistently and well. I'll talk about it on Sunday, and I've talked about it last year. If sometimes in the futures market, you're going to have to sit 6 trading sessions or 12 trading sessions before you get a great move. A lot of times the losses are happening because you have so much debt and you're like, damn, I got to pay this bill for $18,000 on the 22nd. The market doesn't give a fuck about that.
I'm gonna challenge you. Maybe as a blackout topic. The most boring era with the least amount of assets. Because we run into a lot of athletes, we run into a lot of entertainers that we watched growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yo, I wish I would have known the information that y'all provide.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done a lot, but I would have had some better choices with my money. I would have probably had brokerage account. I would have
by design. And that's another thing we can talk about, that ecosystem that's made in sports that make them go broke or steal the money from them.
Yeah, I think this generation is changing. Even when you talk about kids in NIL, topic that will be covered at Investors, and how they're moving around with money and how they're looking at professional sports as, hey, maybe I'll go, maybe I don't.
Oh, right? I'm just talking about the general market, not the athletes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the general market.
Yeah. I think you said, and even inside of the question, from a business standpoint, and one of those things is like, and I've learned this, and I know Shadi's done it as well, is like, when you trade as an individual, that's one thing, right? But if you start allocating enough money and you start to see gains at a different level, now you're going to create an LLC, right? Or you're going to trade inside of that LLC, right? To protect yourself. We're talking about assets, and I'm glad Cedric just highlighted that as well. From a tax standpoint, your gains aren't realized until you sold.
Yep.
Right? And so that's one of those things. A lot of people trade futures, a lot of people trade options. Those contracts will expire within the year, which is why I always tell people, hey, we're going long-term leaps. We're going long-term leaps. I want you to have as much of your money as possible, right? So there's a difference between short-term capital gains and the difference between long-term capital gains. If we do our contracts over a year and a day, we already are in the long-term capital gains, the percentage decreases. So you're trying to keep as much money as possible for yourself. Now, when it comes to how much you want to allocate, I always tell you, right? If you want to, right, you should, number one, try to figure out where your exit strategy is. If you put in a $10,000, is your exit strategy when you make 100%?
You have to know before
you got to know, because if not, you're going to be treating it like a checking account. It's going to become a savings account, and then it's going to be in the red, and you're going to be like, what happened to it, right? Like, it's there for a reason. And so one of the things we always talk about is like, hey, if it's 100%, I'm getting my initial investment back, but I'm not taking it out. Right? Like, I'm going to reinvest that into long-term things. In fact, we're going to do in our next class how we're going to turn short-term options trading, which means two years, right? Because obviously we always talk about long-term and trade that into something that's long term, like having shares. And so we're going to actually exercise some contracts on the next call, so people can see how you can turn a contract that's appreciated to a certain point into a long term share, and even turn it into something that you can leave for your kids. So have a plan.
And as a business, when you're trading on the future side, you can't hold for a year. You can only swing for 30-some days max. Right. This is why it's important to only take a certain amount of trades, so you're not getting killed on the tax side. Even though the future splits on the taxes are better than if you just trade stocks. So I know some people are like, well, I took 35 trades in a month. And I'm like, you're not even factoring all the back end costs. Just the round trip fees are going to kill you if you don't have a great relationship with the brokers. But when it's CPA time, you're going to get slaughtered. And let's be real, even if you're trading, and as much as I love futures, you're still exchanging time for money. You don't have to believe. Look at Buffett, Larry Ellison, fucking Mansa Musa, King, everybody, investor. Everyone is holding Jeannie Buss and her dad 40 years. No one who's really wealthy, I'm talking 100 million and up, are thinking 5 years. They're thinking 20 to 50
at least. But we have our guest here, so let's bring our guest. Hey,
hello. One of our favorite people in the entire world is here with us.
How you doing?
How y'all doing? Good to see you.
How are you?
Good.
I was getting my little workout on, and I looked at the clock. I said, "Oh, I got stuff to go do." And
well, we won't keep you long. We know that you're a busy person. But coming back to Invest Fest this weekend. First and foremost, thank you for that. I know a lot of people are excited. That's going to be a highly anticipated conversation. So I'm personally looking forward to it. And anytime you come, it's always great energy. The vendors always love to see you, and everybody just gets excited whenever you're there.
I can't
Tabitha Brown, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Okay, so we can jump right into it. I had a couple of questions. Just getting up for Invest Fest. You're interesting because we've actually seen your rise in real time, right? And we've seen every aspect of it. So as you're navigating this whole social media influencer mogul, working with brands, what have you learned over the last 2 years, I guess? Because that's when, I think you really, really became like a household name. Once you became a household name, what are some of the lessons that you learned after that point?
Ooh, honey, where do we begin? I think the biggest lesson is that while you grow, right, people change. There's a difference in growth and change, right? So as I'm growing, there is a shift in me, which is changing me. But then there's other people who just change without growth, if that makes sense. And it's very disheartening on part of the successful journey. I always tell people there's a very dark side of success that people don't talk about. You lose a lot of people. People start to dehumanize you. They stop seeing you as just a person, and they see you as an opportunity. And that's probably been the biggest lesson. I'm still navigating that. It's pretty tough because I love people very hard. And then also, I think on a business level, is learning to pivot, right? When things change. When business changes, when partnerships change, when the people in partnership that you're in partnership with change, like all the things. But learning to pivot, I think, has also been a very valuable lesson that I've learned.
I will say this: there are not many people in this world that I've encountered that when you are in their presence, they light up a room or light up a space. You are definitely one of them. I haven't eaten chicken in 2 years since we met.
Come on.
I just wonder, even with that dark side, knowing it's there, how do you maintain this joyous, infectious spirit around you at all times? I mean, when people see you, they are enamored because they can't believe that it's the same energy of the person that they've been watching for so many days. How do you stay so consistent with that?
I think it's a true download, right? I believe that God just gave me pure joy. I've always been a joyful spirit. That's just kind of something that you'll hear my daddy and my uncles and my husband, who I've been with for 27 years, they'll say, like, that girl is just a joyful spirit. But I also have experienced my own like dark season, and it's just not fun. So I'm very intentional with joy. Every day that I wake up, baby, I'm so happy to be alive. I'd be like, oh, I made the wake up list, Lord. I get another chance at it, you know? So I think it's just intentional. And if I don't feel like joyous, like if I don't feel happy, I'm not going to like put myself in an environment to bring other people down. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like I enjoy making people feel well. And I enjoy feeling well. And I won't feel good if I'm not making others feel good in my presence. So then I may not show up for something if I know I can't show up, if that makes sense. So, but not saying that all days are great. You know, I show up sometimes and I tell people like, honey, it's been a tough day. But joy is like not given from the world. You know, the world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. And so I just, you know, I'm intentional with it. You know, that's just my truth.
Amen.
Yeah.
For the men and women who are inspired by you, and to Troy's point, like everywhere you go, you just light up the room. Can you deconstruct to how you got to become this iconic person and built this amazing brand? Like early on social media, were you planning for it to have this impact? And if not, or if so, what are some key things you think everyone that's an entrepreneur should do the next 2 or 3 years to get to a position where you are now?
It's so funny. We talked about this when I was on the show. I absolutely had no plan of any of this happening the way it has happened. I was, you know, I'm an actress. Like that is why I moved to Los Angeles. That is the dream I always had as a child, was to perform. This whole thing it literally, and I cannot say this any clearer, it is from obedience. Mm-hmm. Like I literally surrendered. I used to be a different Tab, right? I used to conform. I used to shape shift. I used to live to please others. And I literally just stopped doing that. And I just tried to be who God created me to be. And with that, doors started to open out of being authentic. Because I also used to not be authentic. I used to try to like fit in and be, okay, let me be who I think people want me to be, or what might help me make it. But people can read that a mile away, right? And so after like taking those layers off, I just started to just be Tab and let that be enough. And that's what started to change my life. Now, I can't say when I started to do content, because it was very new for me and things started to happen, I was like, well, I don't want it to just go away. So as things started to develop and opportunities started to come, I did say, okay, well, I know my training as an actor, I can also use this as an opportunity to tell these businesses, like, I'm trained, I can do commercials for y'all, I can do this for y'all. But the business aspect, I didn't realize I would fall in love with business. Like I really had no vision for business the way that I do now. So I really just think that God just downloaded that into me and was like, no, this is the plan I had for you. And I'm going to give you everything that you need. But one thing that I made sure of is to always keep things in alignment with who I am, right? I never just decided to like you ain't never going to see Tab's name on a beer. I don't drink beer. So why would I do something that ain't in alignment for me? Yeah. You know what I mean? So I just did things that made sense. So what I can tell people, I'm sorry if y'all hear my dog barking, somebody ringing my bell. If you're going to do something, if you're trying to elevate, if you're trying to scale, if you're trying to do, create a company or product or business, make sure it's in alignment with you. Make sure you're telling your truth. Make sure you do it your way. You can be inspired by other people, but never try to duplicate what someone else has done.
Yeah.
That's what I would say to them.
I gotta ask you this question because it's Market Monday, so we talk about companies and valuations and stock and stuff like that. And we had Dr. Jamal Bryan on. So obviously Target, that's a big thing, right? And you're somebody that has a working relationship with Target. Mm-hmm. So from a business perspective, I'd be interested to hear. I know you spoke about it a few times before, but what are your thoughts on everything that's surrounding this whole Target boycott situation?
I think that the boycott, I understand it, right? And the thing about the boycott that was a little disheartening for not just myself, but all the other Black-owned businesses that were in Target, none of us were contacted, right? None of us were notified that, hey, this is what the plan is. What do you need? How can we be a resource? Because this is what you're going to have to endure, right? And so while I'm with it, right, I understand it. It's just like, dang, we can't be together even on that. So that was the big thing for me, because also, while I am a business owner in Target with Donna's Recipe, my hair care company, all of those products, that's a partnership. That's a licensing deal. So all the food and the kitchen supplies, all that things, that's a completely different situation. And most people thought, oh, she could just take those products and do D2C. And I'm like, y'all don't understand business.
Yeah.
That's a licensing deal. That's a partnership. Like I even saw, somebody had sent me when Jamal Brown was on, and I was like, he still doesn't get it. Like, cause he was like, she could just ship direct to customer. I'm like, you think I own 5 businesses and don't know what D2C is? Like I've been shipping to, direct to consumer, but that's a partnership, right? And under contract, like I can't just end that contract, right? But the difference between me and the majority of those other people is they were not in partnership. They were only small businesses who were on shelves. And we all know, if you've ever been in retail, have a brand, it takes a long time to get on those shelves and a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You can't just take your products out of the store. And they have suffered. Some of them have now lost that space because the numbers don't lie. Right. And so in the very beginning, my thought was like, wait, is this a setup? Before I even knew like the whole, boycott thing, because I found out the same day as everybody else. I found out the DEI rollback was happening. I found out the boycott was happening. Like we all found out at the same time. And I was like, dang, is this like a setup to remove all Black businesses from the shelves? Because if a boycott happens, it's our people. And we're the ones who buy those products. Mm-hmm. And the numbers is what they go by. When those numbers come in low, we're going to have to go, right? So when I first did my video back in January, when it happened, that's what I was trying to explain, the business behind it. But most people don't understand business. And they just thought I was like, oh, no, y'all go shop at Target. I'm like, I never said that. I said, this is what's going to happen, which is what happened. I still think it's necessary. I still think that Target was very wrong, and they got a lot of work to do to figure out how to move forward. But there's still some businesses that are there that are struggling, but they are still on the shelf, including Donna's Recipe. Like I'm one of those businesses, but many of them are still very much so struggling, trying to get those sales. Without promoting, without trying to go against the boycott or anything like that. But it's still very tough for the Black-owned businesses.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that. And you talked about the power of the pivot. And obviously you have products in there, but one of the things that you're great at is you have multiple streams and you have multiple avenues. Mm-hmm. So I want to lead by saying congratulations. You alluded to being an actress. And recently, you announced that you're going to be starring and executive producing a film. Yes. So talk about that full circle moment, right? The girl who travels to California, try to figure things out, figures it out in content, and now is going back to where you really started. Was I'm acting, and now I'm executive producing. Talk about that full circle moment.
Yeah, I am. I love to perform. I love acting. Being able to like do a Christmas film is like one of the things I love doing, like holiday movies and things like that. So being able to do Unexpected Christmas, Trell Woodbury, who's one of the producers on the project, is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for over 20 plus years. And when they reached out to me with the script, I was just like, oh, this is good. Like, they wanted me to be in it. But then they were like, what about, you know, being an executive producer? I was like, you know what? I don't mind if I do, you know, but it was just a full circle moment. I've done a lot of, you know, not a lot, but a lot of smaller roles. Every year I'll do a little bit of acting, but not able to like really do it because I didn't have time. But sometimes the blessing in having to pivot, and when one thing starts to go away, it's like God was like, this is all part of the plan. Let me clear your schedule here so you can do more things like this. So I'm super excited for it to also have distribution and go to theaters November 7th, and
amazing,
bring some holiday cheer into all the homes across the U.S. this holiday season.
Touching on pivoting, going back to the partnership really quick, for those that aspire to have major partnership with Fortune 500 companies, knowing what you know now, what contingency plan would you put in place in case something goes awry? And to your point, I think they are using the boycott and sales tactics as a way to not put us back in shelves, maybe for the given who's in office. What contingency plans would you put in place if you do have a major partnership with the Fortune 500 company, if you're a Black-owned company?
I think I would. I mean, we've all learned from this. So I think even with my contract, right, when it comes to like partnership and licensing deals, there should be a dual respect clause, right? So that means if you do something that can affect our business, I can exit the contract.
Morality clause.
A morality clause.
Right.
Exactly. And vice versa. If I do something, right, y'all can let me go. But it has to be dual on both sides.
That's smart.
Well, Tabitha, I know you got to go. Thank you again. I look forward to seeing you at InvestFest. And
see y'all soon. Thank you so much, man.
Keep up the great work. Thank you.
God bless y'all. All right. Bye-bye.
Talk about a legend.
Yeah, for real. You guys have met her more than I have, but every time I've seen her, that joy is beaming.
Good people.
It's a great lesson.
Yeah. We did the interview in 23, but we've run into her a few times since then, and it's been the same energy
every time.
She's really special. Really
special. It's genuine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She'll be in the marketplace. She did that last time. People was really excited to see her. But yeah, InvestFest, it's interesting because she's on a panel with Fawn Weaver. And if you've been following what's happening with Uncle Nearest, that's an interesting story. So very interested to see what she has to say about that. Fawn Weaver, it's a very timely conversation. And then, of course, Tabitha, everything she got going on, but then also the Target situation is still brewing. So, it's a lot of timely.
That's a hell of a combo.
Conversation.
Wow.
And if we can touch on it, is that done by accident or is that intentional?
What?
The use of debt as an instrument to potentially strip your company away from you. We don't have to have it today, but the other financial. Okay, so you have Confessions of an Economic Hitman for countries. This is done in Venture and Angel as well, though.
Yeah. You think about them. I mean, she brought up a good point about the amount of capital that it takes for a company to even be inside these big box stores.
It's costly
to have that your company now be in the part of a boycott, unbeknownst to you. Yeah, it's tough. How do you recover?
How do you navigate?
Yeah,
and that's a hell of a lineup on Saturday. It's like you got. I think it's AI presentation, followed by Secrets of Wealth with Melanin Money, followed by the Africa panel with Shaka Bars, Alvin and Kwame, followed by the Fawn Weaver and Tabitha Brown conversation. Also, the president of Ghana, ex-president of Ghana's daughter's on that panel, followed by Market Mondays Live with Jack Dorsey, lunch, followed by Issa Rae, one-on-one fireside chat. It's actually changed a little bit. Issa Rae's gonna have a one-on-one fireside chat with Selena Hill, followed
Thanks for
by
seeing it.
Charlemagne having a one-on-one fireside chat with Steve Harvey.
Come on.
Followed by
Iconic, yo.
Jamal Bryant.
Okay, I thought it was Native Land.
The Native Land podcast.
Yeah.
Followed by Dean Forbes and Ross Mack.
Icon. Shout out to my guy Ross.
And that's
And
just
all of these people that have amazing information, but they're amazing orators too. Like if you're a business person or entrepreneur, there are things to take from all of them on both spheres. Like that Uncle Nearest conversation and what Tabitha went through in Target, that will be a Harvard case study.
Yeah. I will be sitting in my seat
right next to you,
right in front, listening to that conversation. If you've never seen Fawn Weaver speak, if you've never encountered her presence, you are in for an absolute treat. When you talking about orator, and somebody that is just brilliant and super knowledgeable, that's the highest level, bro.
And the other part of the dark side of success is when you get to the pinnacle, there may be forces to knock you off the top of Everest to put you right back down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the conversation they're having in real time in this climate.
And we've been to Nashville and we've been to Uncle Nearest and we actually saw what they're building there. I'm excited for that conversation.
And I want to say this humbly and respectfully for everyone who commented, well, maybe we should build in private. And you can't build a brand in a silo. You can't build a consumer-facing brand just being absolutely quiet. Especially if you take on capital, there are certain obligations you have to meet. So that's not if no one even heard of the company, and these sales were there, this tactic could still be deployed. So let's give all the support in the world to her. I just don't like that narrative. Well, if she wasn't front facing, I'm like, that's not true. There are companies that are quiet that are going through 80% drawdowns in Target right now that are not as popular as Tabitha's brands. They're quiet. They're going through the same restrictive strategies and financial engineering at one time.
Fact. That's a fact.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting conversation for sure. Get your ticket to the Best Fest. NVIDIA, for people that might have missed the boat, what's the new entry point?
I'm going to keep asking how y'all keep missing the boat. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. If I go for this week, maybe 178.38. It's a mandatory 5-year hold on that price point, but 178.38. Maybe in the next month or so, if it gets down to 165.81, that is a good price to start a position into it. But my question is, how do you keep missing?
Yeah,
Morgan on such an iconic company.
Yeah, like again, the company of this generation for sure. Morgan Stanley just raised its price target on NVIDIA to 206, kept an overweight rating on it. So it was at 200. Now it has it as 206 by year end. I mean, yeah, I don't know. This is not something you're if you're missing it, you're intentionally doing it.
You're intentionally missing it.
Yeah.
And I talked to a couple analysts too. The sentiment that I have about a certain executive is the same sentiment that most of Wall Street has. They just haven't declared it yet. They're giving him a little runway.
Yeah.
I've been told that there's no chance in the next 10 years that Apple ever has that #1 market cap space again, given the landscape for what, like, he was like, I'm being every firm on Wall Street. They'll never be #1 in market cap again.
It's gonna be tough. It's great. I've been just doing the research on it, and I know the service businesses is helping it stay afloat. And I shouldn't even say stay afloat when we're talking about a $3 trillion company, but it has been one of the leading barometers for it. But it is gonna be tough. You figure at 206, right? That which has been raised to, you're talking about a $5 trillion.
$5 trillion.
This is no longer in the fours. This is now a $5 trillion company with really no slowdown. No slowdown.
And to the point the gentleman made on BlackRock, we haven't even got enterprise scale agents yet.
What if they created an enterprise product?
See, and that's the
just take over everything, right? Like, yeah, this is the product we have now, but we want to tap into some of that market. We have huge hyperscalers that are part of our business, but we want the everyday person. Then what do you do? There's nothing you could do.
Told you.
QQQ, a company that we speak a lot about, Invest with Investco. They will be at InvestFest. Investco will be doing a workshop at InvestFest on Friday.
Yes, they will.
Once again, I don't see why you would miss Friday, man. There's so much value being provided on Friday. But a lot of people have asked, what's the difference between TQQQ and regular QQQ?
Of course, I know people are looking at it from a cost basis only. I just think that, and both have advantages. I think the advantage that QQQ does have, though, in terms of that ETF, is not only the construction of it, but how much money is being poured into it. A catalyst that moves the ETF up is the institutions, countries, and power players that buy it. So that is sometimes put this in chat. Sometimes the buyers of the asset is the moat. Go to CNBC.com, type in QQQ, look at all the funds that are buying into it. And I don't think you should just base everything based off price. Is TQQQ solid? For sure. Is it cheaper? For sure. But the class of buyers in it allows it to stay above a certain threshold and limits the volatility that the ETF does have.
I tell people all the time, it's crazy. In our last class last month, shout out to everybody in EYLU. I talked about this in SOX, which is a semiconductor ETF, and SOX L, which is when you see an L or you see that letter in front of the ETF, it's usually a leverage ETF. And so the leverage position is, I would say, it's not for freshmen, strictly for live, kind of, especially if you're doing options. Because leverage just means that there's a multiple, right? And so, for example, TQQ is a 3x multiple of QQQ, right? So what does that mean? If QQQ goes up 10% in a day, TQQQ is going to go up 30%, which is great on the upside.
On the downside?
Which is why you don't do these things long term. On the downside, right? It's the inverse. And so your gains can turn negative very quickly if you're not doing this, if you're not diligent, if you're not experienced. And so when you leverage positions are tricky, which is why I don't suggest anybody.
I never advocate for them publicly. Nope.
But that's kind of the difference. I know some people that day trade, they can make money doing it. Great. Some options you can do it, right? The semiconductor one, it feels like, hey, if I could do it. And that was my rationale. I was like, let me just try this out before I tell people about it. It was like, my rationale was like, semiconductor space not going anywhere. It's going to lead this next revolution. If I can get a 3x multiple on it, great. Even if it pulls down just a bit, I'll be able to get out of the position, which I haven't yet. It actually worked out on the upside. I got it in May, and obviously you've seen what's happened with NVIDIA and all the semis since then. But at some point, if it gets to a threshold that I'm not comfortable with anymore, I'm out of it.
Talk about Temu and Shein.
Who shot for them? No, I'm playing about a lot of people. A lot of people.
This is more of geopolitical exposure. I think it was a great question, but I don't. Once again, catalyst versus noise. Yeah. This is how I'm gonna start classifying everything. If it's a catalyst to move the GDP of the market or of a company, I'll say it. This is more noise for the time being.
But this helps. This helps the U.S. economy. And here's, I'm gonna break it down.
Yeah.
Well, Amazon for sure, right? Because what happened was the U.S. ended the duty-free threshold for products under $800. If you've ever been on Temu or Shein, you know that there's millions of products that are under that threshold. When they put the tariffs, those products now have 145% tariff on them. So think about what that does to a product that you were selling for $15.99, right? It doesn't feel like a cheap product anymore. What has happened as a result? Temu's app, right? This is since April to the end of June. Temu's app has fallen by 77% usage, and Shein has fallen down by 51% in Q2. In the same span, Amazon's monthly sales have rose by 9% and jumped to nearly 12% in July by itself. So people are used to say, oh, there's bargain shopping over there, bargain shopping over there. Usage is going down. We've seen growth going on, revenues going down. Whereas they're going, it's come back to
Amazon.
To Amazon and American companies. In fact, so much so that Temu and Shein are now trying to figure out how they build infrastructure here so that they can still ship to customers without the tariffs. Which, again, I mean, if they're gonna make America great, and that's the phrase from a business standpoint, if you've got those people saying, "Hey, we're not gonna sell, we're not selling the same," and you can see the percentages go down, if they are now forced to build factories here, that's a win for them.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Well, ladies and gentlemen, get your tickets to InvestFest.
Please.
Thank you to Reform. Reform is giving away 50 tickets for free as part of their community give back initiative. First come, first serve, general admission. Go to checkout and enter code Reform. Also, virtual tickets are available for people that can't be there physically in person. We have some surprises at InvestFest that we can't talk about, but just
don't DM me. I won't tell you. I don't know.
Keep your eyes open.
He knows. He's just not telling you.
Registration starts Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, Georgia World Congress Center. And then programming starts Friday morning at 10 o'clock sharp, Friday morning, all day Friday till 6 o'clock. We're actually doing a book signing.
Yep.
All of the stuff, all the runner show is on the website and the app. The app is free. The app is called InvestFest app. And then VIP night is Friday night. And then all day Saturday and all day Sunday programming. So 3 days of full programming, a night, 85 South Comedy Show on Thursday, satellite event. Get your tickets, 85south.com. And we look forward to seeing you. And then the last thing I'll say on this is support Black business. My cousin has a clothing store in Atlanta called Price Tag.
Please.
And he's offering 20% off for anybody that has an InvestFest ticket. So if you gotta get your drip, go to Price Tag Atlanta, 3210 Roswell Road, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia.
Pull up.
Yeah, it's in Buckhead. So go to Price Tag ATL. That's their Instagram, Price Tag ATL. And if you have an InvestFest ticket, anything that in the store, they sell all kind of like sneakers, jeans, all types of stuff.
If you're trying to get fly, if you're trying to get fly,
20% off.
Please.
And if you want to get it from the market,
the clothes are there, the hats are there. Go support Black business.
Oh, what'd you say, Ian?
If you want to get rich from the market, go to ianinvest.com.
Please do that. Also do that.
Legendary presentation coming Sunday. Where to get in, where to get out, the best companies to invest in. Join Red Panda. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. But legendary presentation this Sunday.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing all of y'all. I'm looking forward to the pictures. I'm looking forward to the stories. My number will be inactive starting Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I look forward to seeing everybody in person. I look forward to seeing all of y'all. Shout out to everybody that's going to be in attendance. Yeah, it's going to be magical. All pun intended.
Yeah.
It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. See you at VIP night.
Rashad, you excited? Oh, what you put together for the drip?
Still working on it. Yeah. Last minute changes, last minute decisions, variety of different things.
Is that a velvet pocket on your shirt?
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Shout out to Ocean's Gallery. They gave me this merch, shirt, pocket, and then I got the shorts on too, matching short set.
But
Ocean's Gallery, their Instagram, Ocean's Gallery Co. They've sent me a big bundle of merch. So I'm still.
It's not a paid ad when y'all clip this up.
It's not.
Support Black business. Support Black business at all costs. And there's after parties too that's gonna be happening. So you know how that go. You going to after parties?
Nah, he ain't going. He's not definitely going Saturday.
What time we going Saturday? I may go Friday. Saturday, I'm not.
Yeah, I know you're not going out Saturday.
No, I ain't going out Saturday. Friday, maybe.
Saturday.
My thought always is most of the people who are partying would love to have my spot on that stage. It's my job not to give it up.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Great mentality.
You got to stay focused at all times.
Have to.
Great mentality.
That's a fact. You got to stay focused at all times because once you lose your focus,
It happened with Apple.
You could lose a lot.
It happened with Intel.
Lose
Listen,
your
if I
focus.
mess up on stage, they'd be in the club with you. Hey, bro, next year, let me get that slot in here. It wasn't.
Oh, he did up there. Right?
Nope. Nope. Don't offer me no drinks. I'm not drinking. Yo, man, I got some tequila for you.
We good.
No,
we good.
cool.
We good. Strictly water.
Yep.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But yeah, now there's Friday. Bamboo on Friday. That's the official after party. Sunday is Flow nightclub, and Saturday PVO. The good folks at PVO, they doing their thing. So
I'll try my best.
Sunday I may go out a little celebration, but
I'll try my best.
after party vibes.
Mm.
Woo!
Shotty.
Tune in the blackout.
Yo, I'm gonna have that. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yep.
That's what my shirt gonna say. I'm looking forward to it, though, man. Get your rest now. Organize yourself. Organize your life. Look, this is it. This is it. It's showtime.
Yeah.
It's showtime, and we're looking forward to seeing y'all, man. Love is love. Be good to each other. We see y'all Wednesday. Blackout. Peace.
Peace.